Hey VC, this is Luke with Hot Wax and Cool Vinyl. Welcome back. Unless this is the first time you're viewing my channel, then simply welcome. Today, Monday the 11th of October, 2021, happy Columbus Day. And if you're not viewing this on Columbus Day, well then happy whatever day of the week you happen to be watching it. Going to show a couple of records and a few other goodies that we picked up this weekend, and one record in particular that I picked up over the course of the summer. I really don't recall where I picked it up, but I found it today. I did some research on it, and I said, this is definitely a record that needs to be shown. Firstly, though, let's go with the goodies that I picked up this weekend. This weekend, my wife and I traveled to upstate New York. We went to Stormville, and then that was Saturday, and Sunday we went to the Elephant's Trunk. There are two flea markets, and while the Elephant's Trunk is a weekly flea market in New Milford, Connecticut that goes every single Sunday from, I think it's March until either late November or early December, in around that time frame. The Stormville Flea Market, conversely, is at Stormville Airport in Stormville, New York, and that is about 3 times a year. So whenever Stormville is, my wife and I try to go up that Saturday. We do Stormville, we stay over Saturday night, and then Sunday we go to the New Milford Elephant's Trunk and have some fun. So I usually wind up buying some really cool things. This was no different. So Saturday I picked up some albums, which I'll show, but yesterday I was walking around the Elephant's Trunk, and it was kind of a crappy rainy day, or overcast, so there wasn't a whole lot of vendors, but the ones that were there were really cool, and they were very talkative. And so I stopped by one guy, and he's got a couple of 8-tracks laying around, and let me show you what I got. I picked them up. It was 3 8-tracks in total. The first one is James Taylor. Again, this is a sealed copy. Then we have Metamorphosis from the Stones, also sealed on Atco, which is kind of cool. And then Alice's Restaurant. This was not sealed, obviously, but it's signed. And the guy was like, you know, I got these 3, and he goes, I'm not really sure that that's an Argo Guthrie signature. And I'm like, it's Argo Guthrie. It's not like, you know, this guy's a superstar. Very usually when you're gonna forge a signature, it's Mickey Mantle or John Lennon, you know, somebody really sought after. Argo Guthrie, as good as Alice's Restaurant is, he's probably not somebody whose signature you're gonna forge, especially not on an 8-track, you know. So I was like, okay, how much would you like for all of them? And the guy was like, you know, is $5 too much? No. $5 is not too much. So I got those. Onto the records. And this is the record I was talking about earlier this summer, and I don't recall whether it was at a yard sale or if it was part of my the purchase I made from the gentleman who was working for my company during the earlier part of the season as an outsourced delivery driver. But nevertheless, I was prepping to do this video today. And I was going through these records that I had set aside that, you know, have to be sorted or they need to be cleaned or just kind of been put away, and I haven't gotten to them yet. And I pulled up this thing and I was like, I have no idea who this is. And I think I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's Bayard Lancaster, and It's Not Up to Us is the name of the record. So I was like, you know, I haven't heard this yet, so let me throw it on. And I put it on, and again, this is free jazz. It's a 1969 pressing, Vortex record label, and he plays the flute and an alto sax, I think, in this particular album. Blakey's on drums, so he's got some, you know, no, I'm sorry, not Blakey's on drums on the Jimmy Smith I'm going to show. But I mean, I put it on, and I was like, you know, it's again free jazz, and I don't particularly get along very well. I still have a very difficult time following through with it. So I said, all right, let me do some research on this thing, because maybe I'll sell it on eBay. And I looked on Discogs real quick, and I did a double take. I was like, that can't be correct, can it? And I was amazed at the rarity and value that this record holds. Again, I'd not heard of this person, so, you know, I'm still in the process of learning through jazz, and this was really a very pleasant surprise. So if you're like me and you're kind of still evolving in the jazz aspect, keep an eye out for this artist. If you run across one of his albums in the wild, they are worth quite a bit of money. And if you're a free jazz aficionado, who is not like me, obviously, but if you're a free jazz and you really dig it, I think you'll really enjoy it, because I mean, it wasn't unlistenable for me as far as free jazz. There's certain free jazz records that I just can't really listen to. It's plays way above my head. So that was the record I was just talking about as far as from earlier this year. As to what I picked up this past weekend. Okay, so let's start with this Blue Note classic from Jimmy Smith. This one is actually with Art Blakey on it. This is Cool Blues. I played this yesterday. I bought this at I bought this in Stormville. It really is a nice copy. It wasn't shrink. I took the shrink off because it didn't really have any breathe holes in it, so the shrink was really just strangling the record, increasing the corners, which drives me crazy. So I took the shrink off, played it yesterday, and again this morning I was listening to it. The record is really, really nice. The guy had it labeled as mint, which always bothers me, because to me mint is a sealed record, and even then it's presumed mint because I really don't know what it looks like. This plays very well, but it's got a lot of superficial scuffing. So it's really, I mean, it's not mint, but that's just me being very petty. The record, again, plays wonderfully. It really does. There's very, very little noise at all. And Jimmy Smith, for those of you who know me, know I think Jimmy Smith is an exquisite musician across all the boards. So grabbed that this weekend, and it was a really nice find. And again, it's the 81 pressing on Blue Note. The Juveniles, band I had never heard of. This was part of the purchase from my good friend Michael from about 3 weeks ago. This is about one of the 1,200 albums that I showed some of earlier. So this is on Piccadilly Records. Again, a great looking record. It's called Bo Diddley is the title of this record. Garage rock from the, I guess it probably would be the early 80s, I think, if I remember correctly. This is a great little album. I really had never heard of these guys. But as I was kind of cataloging the records, I looked on Discogs, and Discogs said, garage rock band, garage band was the style, so I threw it on, and it really sounds great. So a nice little album, great little band, first record I've ever owned from them. Highly recommend it if you can find it. Just not a lot of them out there. Not terribly expensive, just not a lot of them out there. And then on to this weekend. Not a huge Elvis guy, but his soundtracks I do like. This also happened to be in shrink, and it was King Creole, and I like Elvis. I like the movie. I like the songs in the movie, so I decided to go ahead and buy it. It didn't hurt that it was like a couple of bucks. It wasn't very expensive at all, and it was in really, really nice condition. And this is a U.S. pressing, but it's really it's an earlier press. Is what I was trying to say, and I completely lost my train of thought. Not an earlier press, the 73 press. That's what I meant. Good looking label. The classic RCA orange label. Great looking record as far as visually. Plays, I only played one side, but it plays very, very nicely. And again, it's Elvis's King Creole. I have a friend of mine who's like an Elvis crazy nut, to the point where he's got a full-size mannequin of Elvis and Marilyn Monroe. And his guy's like, he's my go-to. on all things Elvis because he's just like a walking, talking Wikipedia of Elvis. And one of the things he's taught me is that, goes, oh yeah, the Elvis albums, the ones that are really, the early stuff, all had pictures of Elvis in them. And if you get them like that, they're really worth a lot more money. I've never found one with the photos of Elvis in the movies. I know they exist, but I guess that's why they're worth so much more than your standard fare Elvis stuff. But I was really happy to get this kind of this condition shape of album. Oh boy, I seem to be having problems with the English language today. I was very pleased to get an album of this grade and this condition for so little money. I think it was a couple of dollars, not more than that. Actually, $2.50. I know because it was half price of what he was marked. So it was $5. So I was paid $2.50. So this is another one, and this is Elvis Presley. And if you've seen any of my earlier videos, you know I'm Italian. I was born in Rome, and I spent a lot of time in Rome during the summers, both growing up, and I studied there for a couple of years after high school in the early 80s. So this one, I'm looking at this, and this is Cinema 3 presents the multi-songs of Elvis is song titles. So it's basically The Delinquent of Rock and Roll, which is Jailhouse Rock, and Fratelli d'Italia, which is Italian, and it's for the Italian for, I forgot which movie it was, but it was the one that featured Love Me Tender. So you have Love Me Tender on this one. And, this is all the songs that celebrate Elvis. And this was one of those weird things. I've not seen an Italian Elvis album. And then all the writing is in Italian, of course. So it's really kind of cool. It's an Italian press. And so I grabbed it again, $2.50. Also really, really good condition. And I bought some of the Cinema 3 record labels from other Italian movies and other Italian artists. And it's not a bad record label. It actually sounds pretty good. And in conclusion, God, I pick this up every single time I can when it's offered at $1 or $2. And this was, again, the case. It was $2.50. This is Boston's debut album. I buy these because I sell these, at this point, the only way I'm going to get an upgrade to any one of mine is if I find a sealed copy. I haven't found one yet, but at the moment, this thing, I played this yesterday, and it just, it's on point across the board all the way around. It has a little bit of wear, a little bit of ring wear, but such an iconic album from such a fantastic band, I said, every time I see a Boston album that I can have, then I purchase it inexpensively. I just buy it because it's just a no-brainer. So that's it. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Have a great rest of the week. A little bit scatterbrained this video was. We'll try to clean it up a little bit. It's just that it's been a crazy, hectic day, and still got dinner to make, so I'm a little all over the place. So please excuse me on that aspect. Nevertheless, have a fantastic week. And as I said in the opening, please leave me a comment. I really enjoy the interplay going back and forth. And if you like my channel, subscribe. And if you don't like my channel, subscribe anyway. Oh, you don't have to watch it, just subscribe. Listen, have a great week, everyone. Cheers.